Good morning, everyone. In the last class, I discussed about Elizabethan poetry and the characteristics of it. And one of the students, he requested me to discuss something about the background of the Elizabethan age. So today, I'm going to discuss, you know, the background, the backdrop of the Elizabethan age for a few minutes. And then I will move on to discuss the characteristics of the Elizabethan poetry. So Queen Elizabeth, she was the daughter of King Henry the Eighth, and her mother was Anne Boleyn. All right. So after the death of King Henry the Eighth in 1547, Edward the Sixth, that means his son Edward the Sixth, he came to power and he ruled England until 1553. So, I mean, in 1553, Mary the First became the queen. Mary the First, she was the daughter of King Henry the Eighth. So Mary the First became the queen, and she ruled over England until 1558. Then, after the death of Queen Mary in 1558, Elizabeth took the crown in 1558. That means she came to the throne. Elizabeth came to the throne in 1558. In fact, Mary, who was the queen before Elizabeth, Mary the First, she was the daughter of King Henry the Eighth and his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. Henry the Eighth, she had 6 wives, and the first wife was Catherine of Aragon. So Mary the First was the daughter of Catherine of Aragon, and Elizabeth the First was the daughter of his second wife, Anne Boleyn. Okay, now the Elizabethan age. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, all right. The Elizabethan age, if anyone asks you what is the time span or duration of the Elizabethan age, so it started in 1558 and it ended in 1603. And many historians, scholars, literateurs, they believe that this is the golden age in English history, in the history of England. Why? Why this age is particularly called the golden age? Because in this age, England as a nation experienced peace and prosperity. It was peaceful and prosperous. At the same time, arts also developed. Okay, arts, literature, music, theater, that means drama. So that's why this time period is called Elizabethan age. Why? Because Queen Elizabeth the First ruled England during this time. So Elizabeth the First, she ruled for 44 years, 44 long years, and eventually she died in 1603. So her death is actually a kind of mystery, the mysterious death she had, because some people say that she died, you know, of some disease. Some others believe that maybe she was poisoned, blood poisoning. So some people think like that. However, at that time, post-mortem was illegal. There was no permission for post-mortem. So, there was no way, no chance to know how she actually died. So after her death, who came to the power? Who became the king? James the Sixth of England became the king. Now let's discuss about the Renaissance theater. You should also know that Elizabethan age is also called Renaissance age, the age of Renaissance. So in this age, theater developed, what should I say? I mean, amazingly. Okay,
Drastically.
yes, theater, drama. As you know, uh, William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe, they wrote wonderful plays in Bangla Natok. Many more permanent theaters opened in London. Actually, Queen Elizabeth, she herself was a poet. Okay, so she knew the importance of literature. She knew the importance of art, culture, dancing, music, theater. So she sponsored, she inspired other poets, other writers to, you know, to establish new theatrical organizations, uh, and so on. See, she always inspired, encouraged. So that's why drama, theater, it just flourished. It developed tremendously. For example, you must remember, uh, it's a famous theater, Globe Theater, William Shakespeare's theater. William Shakespeare was involved in uh, uh, in this theater called Globe Theater. At that time, stage dramas.
Yeah. Oh, 1 second. Globe Theatre is also called Shakespeare Theatre.
Yes, it is also called Shakespeare's theater because he was so much involved with this theater. Even he also acted. He also acted. He was also an actor. All right. Though not, much, he did not do much acting, but sometimes he acted. For example, in Hamlet's stage drama, he acted as the ghost. That means he acted as the ghost of Hamlet's father. There was also another theater named Curtain Theater. Okay, all right. Then we see the rise of
Sir,
history,
why it's called Age of Renaissance?
the age of Renaissance, because in this age, uh, the people of that time, in England, they actually started to know about Greek writings, Greek and Roman writings, books. They started to collect the ancient Greek writings, Sophocles' uh, tragedies, Euripides' books, Aristophanes' books, Socrates' teachings, then Plato's books, Aristotle's writings. So actually, during the Renaissance, this age, people started to know about all these books, all these writing, great books and writings from ancient Greece and Rome. So they started to collect them and they started reading them. After reading those books, they became enlightened, they started to know uh, wonderfully new things, and they were so inspired by the books, by the ancient, Greco-Roman books. Greco-Roman means, Greco means Greek, Roman, Greco-Roman books. Uh, they were much inspired by the philosophies, you know, by the ancient Greek philosophies. So that's why it is a kind of, Renaissance means rebirth.
Rebirth of knowledge.
Rebirth, now rebirth of knowledge happened. A new birth happened. The English people, I mean, they, their eyes were opened. Their eyes were opened means they learned something new from those ancient books. All right. So that's why we can also say the rebirth of the conscience. Conscience means vivek. Vivekir punarjanmo. The rebirth of conscience also.
স্যার এটা কি ইন্ডাস্ট্রিয়াল রিভলিউশনের আগে না পরে?
Which one?
Age of Renaissance.
Age of Renaissance happened uh,
1500 to 1600.
1500 to 1660 actually. 1500 to 1660. So it's after, I mean, it's before industrial revolution, of course, before industrial revolution. Okay, so then during this age, we also see the rise of other arts. Other arts also developed. In Bangla arts, we mean shilpo, such as, for example, music. The Elizabethan people, they loved music. Music is an art, right? What is art? Art means something beautiful. Music is also an art. Art does not mean a painting. No. Music can be art. Painting is art. All right. So people of that time, they loved music. That's why there were so many songwriters, so many poets. Uh, Anis, he mentioned in the last class that the Elizabethan age is also called as the age of the singing birds. So here the singing birds means singing poets. Okay, the poets, they wrote many songs and they were composed. For example, if I write a song and A.R. Rahman, if he composes it, that means if he adds music to it. So, will you be happy? Naim, Anis, are you listening?
Yes, sir.
It was a joke actually. I hope you can hear everyone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
All
yes.
right.
Yes, yes,
All
sir.
right. So many songwriters were there. So many composers were also there. Who were the composers? The composer's duty was to, add music to the lyric. For example, two famous composers were William Byrd and John Dowland. So I mentioned A.R. Rahman. A.R. Rahman, was he a songwriter? I mean, I should say is. Is he a songwriter or is he a composer or both?
I think both, sir.
He is both because he writes songs and also he adds music. He is also a composer or musician. All right. Then
Yes, sir.
this age was also famous for navigation and exploration. Navigation is connected with the navy, navy,
I mean
naval,
radar.
naval,
It means
naval,
included with, I mean, radar
connected with
navigation.
ship,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Yes, sir.
So the Elizabethan era, it saw the rise of the English Navy. The English Navy at that time was, much strong, and they defeated the Spanish Armada. That means uh, 130 ship naval fleet of Spain. So the Elizabethan English Navy, they defeated the Spanish Navy in 1588. And this was the age of exploration. What do you mean by exploration? Any idea? Explorer, exploration. Who is an explorer? If I say that I am an explorer, what does it mean?
So explorations means uh want to earning something. It would be
Or
it
maybe
would be knowledge.
wanderer.
It
Yes,
would be knowledge or something,
moon
etc.
is close to the meaning actually.
Maybe
Explorer means
Wanderer, discoverer.
discover something.
Who discovers something?
who
Yes, sir.
discovers something, who goes from one place to another, and he discovers. Can you name one discoverer,
Yes, sir. Columbus
one
discovered the
famous?
America.
Columbus, Christopher Columbus. If
Yes, sir.
you okay, another discoverer, you know, from one of the books that you studied in your previous semesters.
Yes, sir.
It's
Gulliver.
Gulliver. Gulliver was also a discoverer, explorer. He goes from one place to another. He meets, new places, new people. All right. So they actually, it shows that the people at that time during the Elizabethan age, they were actually so curious in Bangla, Kautuhali. They wanted to learn something new. They wanted to go to distant lands, distant countries, all right, to meet the new people, new cultures there. Now I am going to discuss something about clothing and fashion. Clothing, the manner of dressing up, At that time, clothing and fashion were very vital, very important, especially the nobles or aristocratic people, the higher class people, rich people, they give much importance to clothing and fashion. And in fact, you will be, astonished, you will be surprised to know that at that time, there were laws, you know, who could wear what types of clothes. Now you can wear almost any types of clothes, but in England at that time it was not allowed. There was no permission to wear whatever you want to, whatever you feel like. Okay? That's why if you watch any film, you will see how they used to wear dresses. Can you remember? Did you see any picture? You must have on the internet or anywhere. The dress of Queen Elizabeth, or any officers from that time. They were so colorful and so gorgeous dresses. The clothes were made of silk and velvet, and they actually liked bright colors. That's why those dresses looked gorgeous or extravagant. Let's focus on the government system at that time. How was the government during the Elizabethan age? Actually,